Yes, guys, it's another episode of Fight Talk Live. It's Danny Glover. It's Base the Kid. You know where it is. We're here. How's it going, man?
Yo, 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 people, all good. 1 second. It looks like something here is not syncing the way it's supposed to. I do promise we came on time. We actually hit the live button exactly at the time requested, but yeah, for some mad strange reason, it said that yeah, something went wrong. And now I'm trying to change this, which is not showing up. There we go. Um, Danny. Before I even get into the pleasantries, the delightful October Red unfortunately is not well, so she shall not be with us this evening. But we give well wishes to her to get better. Also, it was going to be a weekend of UK based boxing, but with the the Moses Atalma injury, that's now obviously no longer the case. So there is only US based offerings this weekend to look out for, but still should be a good one. Danny, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, I'm seeing Muller saying not showing on YouTube. But yeah, no, apart from that, I've been okay. Yeah, everything's quite normal. I know it's been a quiet period for fighting, but very loud in the news and moves and grooves, I guess, in the world of
No,
boxing.
hold on 1 second, just while you're talking. Let me
But yeah,
check my YouTube because
I'll check mine as well. But shout out to everyone inside. Um, yeah, it says I'm live.
okay, mine is not saying I'm live. It's saying people are waiting, but
Yeah, it says I'm live.
see, October's is live, yours is live, mine is not live for some reason.
Hold on, let me check yours. No, it says up and coming, upcoming.
Um, Hold on, let me.
It says January thingy, 8 p.m. Free waiting. Two people in the comments. Dan the man and
Yeah,
Mullet.
I can see that, but I've got there's two on my channel that are showing as upcoming. Neither are for some reason or other. Maybe that was where the glitch was. All right, well, look, it's fine. Everyone, watch on X, watch on Danny's channel, watch on October Red's channel, as those ones do seem to be working. Um, I will take the hit on this one, but it's fine because we've got watch alongs over the next couple of days, so you guys can um, most definitely tune in to those.
Yeah.
Um,
But how you been though? Otherwise.
Yeah, I'm all right. I had some good news earlier on. Not necessarily know if I wanna. It's good news, but I don't know if I want to share it to the public just because you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'll save that for another time. But yeah, things are going well. The year is starting off quite well, even though I didn't get to do the holiday I wanted to do, but everything else seems to be working in my favor thus far. So I can't complain too much. Let's get into things. I've got to be somewhere at 9:30. There's two of us, so it should be a fairly quicker day. But what I'll do, I'll let you take because I know that you put down several topics that you wanted to discuss today. I'm literally like just here. So what's kind of on the mind? What are we talking about? What's in your mind?
Well, yeah. Firstly, no particular order, but as your poster kind of signals, it's been a lot of talk and an announcement that Jaya Pattaya has signed with Zuffa Boxing, which has come to a shock to a lot of people. I saw a interview by Mick Francis today, kind of explaining why he's gone to Zuffa, which is very interesting because going by Dana White's initial sort of layout map of what he wanted to do and what he wanted Zuffa to be about, it seemed to have gone in a different direction. So I just find it very interesting. And it seems Dana now has come out with an interview today, kind of saying he didn't want to let all his cards on show early. So it seems like he is actually going in a different direction and has planned this probably all along in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I can imagine that. The way it kind of looks, he clearly wants to, or at least it seems as if he clearly wanted to do the UBO thing, which is I guess the long term plan. But maybe in the short term, the plan was that, okay, well, if I compete with the others, or we get some names in just to sort of build the recognition, we can do the other fights and the all those so called side projects, we'll say. We can put all of those on sort of either in the background or on the undercards of maybe the major fights. We'll work with the with the sanctioning bodies for the moment, as and when we need to. But then once we've got the name recognition, we've got a big enough roster or built enough big enough stars underneath the sort of the current crop, we'll be able to go fully within our new mode, and that will be the way sort of forward in that UFC, Bellator, sort of PFL style league. What it could also be is maybe his idea is to sign up a bunch of like the big name fighters, make cards around them, and then have this quote unquote Zuffa belt thing as like almost like a developmental territory, a bit like when you had UFC and you had the Ultimate Fighter series, or in WWE they got things now called their brand that's called Evolve, which is like the sort of the real like the little showcase developmental that if you manage to do well on that, then you get sent up to NXT. And if you
Yeah.
do well in NXT, you get sent up to main roster or SmackDown. And then they've
Mhm.
also got their programming like LFG, which is Legends and Future Greats. So the Zuffa belt could be that kind of thing where you fight for the Zuffa belt to gain your recognition, to gain your status, to then move up to like the new rankings or to move up to the main roster, so to speak. And then you drop the Zuffa belt, and then like the next set of guys do the tournament to fight for it, and then whoever wins that gets moved up to the main. So it could be something like that. Maybe that's how they're looking to to engineer a pathway. It seems, it clearly seems like they've got a lot of things in mind that we've not seen and not heard of. So, I guess we just gotta wait and see, as you said. But it looks like, even though they may not be starting on the best of like the best of platforms, it might actually work out. Who knows?
Yeah, because my opinion on it is yes, this we got the Callum Walsh versus Carlos Ocampo, and yeah, that's not the biggest fight, but we know production wise, they're gonna want to hash out any sort of snags and things like that. You don't want to just go big and then it ends up, the lights turning off middle of production. You kind of build your way up, and it's a decent enough name. Callum Walsh is making his way and stuff like that, and Carlos Ocampo, we know, yes, he's been blasted out twice early, but it's a name people do relatively know, so they will have enough eyes on the viewing, and they're doing it like 1,000 seats, so they're not going too crazy with it. The purses are very manageable, I imagine, because the card's not going to be very expensive, especially with their tiered pay system. Most of the fighters on the card will probably be paid 10 bags, maybe 20. The main event guys will probably get 50 each. And with Jaya Pataya signing, I do feel that I do feel they would have negotiated a different type of deal to get him to sign the dotted line because he's a brand name. I don't believe they're going to be paying him the what's it 500K for a champion. I think they'll probably pay him a
I
bit
think it
more.
was 750 for a champion, and either 250 or 350 if you were a challenger.
Okay, yeah, but I feel they'll probably pay him a bit more over the odds. But as we know, Dana White, when I saw that comparison of how much Matchroom's worth, Queensbury's worth and UFC's worth. They've got the budget. Plus, he's backed by Turkey, so any extra money that will need to be put on top, I imagine Turkey will assist with that. So, and even, but then what my concern is that we've got David Benavidez versus Zerdo Ramirez coming up on May 2nd. Jai Pattaya signed with Zupa. Say my nephew goes and beats Zerdo now, two belts, and then he says, "Well, I would want Jai Pattaya, but hey, he signed with Zufa. It's another fight that's ran away from him. Not that anyone could ever claim that Jai's ever ducking from a fade or a
But
smoke."
it hasn't run away from him because Mick Francis said the one thing that they confirmed is that they will allow him to fight for the sanctioning belts.
Okay. Oh well, if that's the
That's
case,
what he said in the interview. He goes, what you're going to ask me probably is the reason why we signed is they agreed that we will be able to recognize all the belts and they will do their best to make the fight for the belts.
yeah. But how that's gonna work, well, we'll have to wait and see. But I do know because I know Zufa tend to. Well, they said that they are only recognizing the Ring magazine title. I know Jai's never going to give up his IBF, but we'll see because anyways,
Like I said, that they've just basically whatever the structure was, Dana has now clearly either made some pivots or did some bait and switches. And it
mm,
could quite easily be a situation where, as I said from before, if he's maybe saying, all right, we're going to use the primetime players to build the underlings underneath, and then we'll eventually go into the UBO territory, that could be one way. What possibly has also happened, which is very, it's hypothetical, but could also be a thing. He was maybe thinking about, okay, UBOs and having his own league until you found out that Golden Boy Promotions ain't got a platform at the minute. Top Rank don't have a platform at the minute. PBC have got very, very limited dates on Prime that they're having to put on pay-per-view. The only competition he's really got is Matchroom at this precise moment in time. So therefore, maybe we can do something now with the sanctioning bodies, because maybe we could swoop up a lot of these other guys that are out of contract and get them at decent prices. Because who else is going to do it? That could be an issue as well. So that could all be reasons as to why they're now deciding that we're going to do this and pivot from just acknowledging the ring and creating our own belt and only recognizing those original 8 weight classes. Again, all that stuff could still be in the future, but maybe in the interim they want to sort of gradually introduce that. So
yeah, that makes total sense because it was very interesting when Mick Francis said that Zufa was actually the only offered to Jai. I was thinking, oh, it must have got. I thought he would have had other offers, or Matchroom would have at least tried to hold on to him. But I guess I don't know, for whatever reason, it's just not worked for them. I guess they're not able to get him what he wants. I see Oscar Valdez is out of contract, so he seems like another easy swoop up. And there's been other names rumored to be about. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting in the next coming weeks, especially months, as to what happens next with that. So yeah, man, that's good, good move by Dana. I've got to give it to him there.
all right, so what else have we kind of got on the docket?
Um, well, we've seen that Brian Norman Senior is has been relieved of his duties as a trainer by Brian Norman Jr. following the loss to Devin Haney, and Brian Norman Sr. has taken to social media to start talking about the game plan that they had, and he feels that he's been unjust. Like the tactics that he gave his son was the right tactics because his guard was there. Sometimes you get hit. It's boxing. What can you do? He doesn't know. He doesn't understand why his son's blaming him for the loss. Um, and to be fair, he's wrong for doing that, going to social media, because you're just now you're just attention seeking. It doesn't look good, especially as a dad. But I can see why he would be frustrated because he's put all those years in. The fight before, you had a knockout of the year contender against Jin Sasaki. You've guided him into being a brand name, and then all of a sudden you've had one fight where you've not looked good, and now you're getting sacked. and especially as a man who's took you from the amateurs into the pros, it is going to be frustrating for the dad. But he was wrong by the way he went about it, in my opinion. I don't know if did you manage to see the video, and if so, what's your thoughts on it?
No, I mean I heard about this supposed game plan thing. I ain't seen the video. To be honest, I'm gonna be real. I don't really care because all right, on the outside you could say, look, it's a father son thing. We don't know necessarily the reasons. Is he saying, "Oh, you're a terrible trainer," or is he saying, "Yo, I need something different. I need maybe to move to a level that you've not been to," whatever it could be. It would be nice if maybe he stays on the team in some capacity, or if he still maybe kicks him a retainer out of the future checks as a as a thank you for getting him to that position. But you change trainers all the time. Like it is what it is. If the proof is going to be in the future fights, if he comes back and he's had a major improvement and he's properly in that world level, then he's made the right choice. If he looks like dog dookie, then we'd say he should have stuck with Pops, and Pops knows best. The only thing I do hope is that sometimes you get the dad or even the trainer, just it may not even be a dad, but just a trainer and like, all right, well look, you'll never be anything without me. I hope he just doesn't kind of put that energy on him, like, oh yeah, how much better do you think you're going to get? Like, I made you what you are. Watch now. I just hope we don't get to that level. But outside of that, all right, cool. Do your thing.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, it's another one where's out with the old, in with the new, looking for a new trainer, and talking about trying another person who's looking to leave. Um, is Virgil Ortiz with Oscar De La Hoya. I'm seeing there's some big lawsuits with the manager, Rick Mirian,
Mirigan.
Mirigan. Oh, sorry, Mirigan. And Virgil Ortiz is obviously not happy, but Oscar's gone out. He tried to get ahead of the curb, saying that Mirigan was negotiating a deal for Virgil for the Boots fight behind his back. So we can, I think it's safe to say, I think what most people knew, that Virgil is not the one who's holding up this fight. He wants to fight. Most fighters do want to fight. But Oscar, for some reason, well, we kind of get why he's holding Virgil back. It seems he's trying to protect his asset, but in that doing so, he seemed to have lost his one of his main biggest assets on Golden Boy, which I think is very dangerous now when it comes to reviewing and renewing his contract with DAZN. And Virgil has taken out a lawsuit on Oscar, and Oscar, I saw, did a reply on Instagram saying he's being badly advised by some people, by the what's it? He's like a manager slash lawyer, and he just feels that this guy, that Virgil's being misguided. So it's looking very messy, but it's not looking good for Oscar, because this is not the first person who's had to do this to him.
Well, we say that, but how do we know for definite that it's actually Oscar? Because all right, he did the 60-40 thing, right? So we can get that. But Rick Mirigan, or Merigian as some people call him, he was on there demanding $10 million, like guaranteed, for the fight. So not including any back end money. That team, Rick specifically, said that's what we want. And then I think eventually they went down to maybe 7 or something like that. They want 7. But the pot of money supposedly that they have to do the fight is, I believe, $6 or $7 million. Yes, I think there was a period of time when I think the pot might have been 11 or 12, because that's what Turkey was putting up for the fight, maybe even a bit more than that. But Turkey since then has elected to not do that. And ultimately, that money, as they say, yesterday's price is not today's price. That works in both ways. That not always, oh, I was cheaper then, now I'm more expensive. Sometimes it could be, well, I got given a great payday, but that was unsustainable, because this is between Matchroom and Golden Boy. Neither guy has been proven to be a pay-per-view draw. Boots Ennis has at least like sold out several stadiums. He sold out a couple in Philadelphia, like I think 10, 11, 13,000 each one. And he sold out the one at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey as well. So we know that he can sell stadiums. At this time,
Arenas.
from the evidence that I've seen, I haven't seen all of it, but from the evidence what I've seen, Virgil has never actually been a sellout draw like anywhere he's fought. Now, true say he's a big Texas guy. Doesn't really fight in Texas that often. Like Golden Boy haven't really done a lot there. So maybe that's where the catalyst is. You go to Texas to see if, he can sell out a 12, 13, 14 seater or whatever. But in that sense, it's like you're proclaiming, I must be the A side and all of that. You've never won a belt. Like, you currently hold an interim title now, but you've never won a title. You never fought for a title. You don't do gate numbers like Boots, or you at least don't like do bums on seats like Boots has done and like he's cleared. You're not a pay-per-view star by yourself. You've been on pay-per-view events, but you've been undercard on pay-per-view events.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not that guy. He's not that guy, but he's won belts. He's unified the division. So he's also come up and I believe has some form of interim-ish type belt as well. So they're both on course to be able to pick up either vacant or fight for a title.
Yeah, Boots has got the IBO, I believe.
He's got that IBO, but I think he's got another, like maybe it's a WBA, not a regular, but one of their belts and stuff that you can parlay into a title.
Yeah, Intercontinental probably.
Yeah, or even it might be an IBF or high IBF ranking. Either way, he's got a route to a title. Virgil's got he's got an interim title, and stuff. But that doesn't make you the A side. So, if anything, you just to just get rid of all the nonsense. It's 50-50, or you say 45-45. Winner gets the last remaining 10%. Like do it that way, because that's been done before. At least that way, then you can establish who's best. You have to understand it's not Turkey financing the fight. So if you was maybe offered 9 or 10 million before, or 12 million, well, sorry, that was the old price, and you're not going to get that price again, because he's made it clear he has no intention on revisiting that fight himself. So make the fight at the price that you're valued, because ultimately that is what your value is on both sides, and do it that way. So Oscar may have obviously then been trying to do stall or leverage tactics, but he's only trying to leverage a 60-40% of the pot. He's not asking or saying that we want 10 million or 7 million for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where the big disconnect is. Now, with Virgil wanting to leave, apparently what they're not even saying, oh, it's for breach of contract. It's just due to the fact that they don't have the DAZN deal anymore. And I guess within his contract, there is something, my fights must be broadcast on a major network or on the DAZN platform, just like those people at Boxer had Sky Sports contracts. And now that you're kind of in a holding pattern with DAZN, maybe you had that little sort of one fight agreement for Rocha and Curiel, which didn't actually happen last week. Maybe that's what has now allowed him to say my contract is void, I can leave. Whether that's true or not, I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, and the thing is, I agree, and I've been saying about the £10 million price. But I thought it was Oscar talking about the 10 million, because why it don't make sense to me is you can't. This is not a $10 million fight, because as we know, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. got 10 and 8, and that was like a major thing in this country. Pay-per-view, 67,000 seater in Tottenham. The numbers were adding up and making sense, and it was funded by Turkey. And even Chris Eubank Jr. said, I asked for something ridiculous and I just got lucky and managed to get it. So even he didn't even believe the fight was really worth 10 million for his side of the purse, but he just got a lick and got lucky. So this fight, as we know, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, they've really done this thing where it was undisputed for them to get their mega purse. I know originally it was probably 10 million with that BLK Prime thing, and then they ended up getting about 23 or 25 in the end. But as you said, Virgil's not won a world title, and he's been in 2 weight classes now, never fought for a world championship. Nobody knows his market value as in pay-per-view or how well he can do in a gate on the East Coast or West Coast, really to his maximum potential. Boots Ennis, yes, does well with the gates and the seats, but he hasn't been proven as a pay per view entity yet. So that price is not as you. If you're saying that it was a 6 million total purse pot, and it got a split between the two, obviously the network and other people got to get their profits. I think that's a very reasonable price for this type of fight because they're not. If we walk down the street, people don't know who they are like that.
And
Oh,
even with that, like they're talking 3 million or 3.5, 2.5, whatever it is. But that's just it's gonna be part of the pay per view, right? We know that.
yeah.
If you got the ultimate tier, then you get it as part of your subscription. Otherwise, you purchase the pay per view. If you believe that you're a draw, believe that people will sort of, you know, get to that level, or that you can at least do. If you believe that you can at least do 150,000 pay per views, you'll take the 3 million because you will get, as they call back end money. Like you will get that because there will be enough. I think if they wanted if they wanted 7 million each, they would have to do like I think 233,000 pay per view buyers to break even on that sort of price point. At a price point of I think $70 or $60 or whatever it would be in the States, right? So
Mhm.
if it's free and free, you might only need to do 120,000 pay per views, or maybe you might need to do maybe 100 to break even, say. But if you reckon you can do 150, cool. So now you've actually got some back end money to play with. So it's all up to them. It's one of those annoying, frustrating things. They probably won't end up fighting each other until either one of them's taken a loss or until they go to 160. They probably won't fight each other at 154. They'll probably end up fighting each other at 160.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm. Shout out to Star Fox. No, I'm not pocket watching. It's just listen. They've been talking about prices. It's all out there, public information. We are just journalists covering. Yeah, please come on, give us a break. But next topic I want to talk about is um, I'm I'm confused. I'm not quite sure what's happening with Alexander Usyk. That 1 minute I'm hearing talks that he's going to IVB, I Visit Boxing. Then I'm hearing rumors that he's going to Zuffa, um, because IVB are looking to stage 150 attendance to break the
140.
140 to break the former attendance record
San Francisco.
in San Francisco, held by Zale. I forgot what fight who he fought again in that. It was like back in about 1941, back in the 1940s.
Mm.
Um, and from what I'm hearing now, Derek Chisora has leaked on Talk Sport today. He's saying that Usyk's scheduled to fight Andy Ruiz, so he's looking to make some. I wouldn't say American because it's not an American debut, but an American splash, shall we say? Which I find very interesting. But whether it's Zuffa or IVB, it sounds like IVB are making the better sort of system as they're looking to do it on YouTube pay per view, which is now another interesting factor coming into play. And and he said that he was going to charge £10. I forgot the guy's name. You probably remember
Yeah,
it.
Ed Ferreira.
Yeah, that's the one.
Ed Pereira. Yeah,
Correct.
he's the guy that helped to get all the permits together for that fight card they did up in the
New
Times
York.
Square.
Yeah, which
But
wasn't a
he's
very.
but the thing is, the YouTube pay per view thing, that's been a thing for a while. Remember Joseph Parker and Huey Fury fought on YouTube pay per view.
Did
Um,
they?
yeah, back in the day, that's when they had to bring him over to Manchester. That's how they tried to pay him. It didn't work out because they didn't promote it that well, but that's where they did it. And YouTube also have that pay function for if you're a premium subscriber or if you want to buy their movies, like you can rent their movies pay per view right direct through YouTube as well. For the licenses that they hold. So the model's there and it works. It's just about kind of letting people know that it's there and just basically showing them. And if you enough, you should be able to do enough ad revenue or ad space if you've actually got the deal with YouTube. Every time someone puts on a video, whether it's a sports related one or whatever, oh, one of the ads you get either non-skippable or you may be allowed to skip it after 30 seconds rather than 5. Oh, it's this event that's coming up, log in now, kind of thing. So yeah, I don't really see it being a bad thing. It's just it's another app, it's another platform. But YouTube has got like 2.7 billion subscribers across the world. So it is the largest platform out of all of them: Paramount, DAZN, Sky, Prime, and everything else. So
Netflix.
if you can leverage it the proper way, then you can make the money. And they say if you leverage it correctly, you don't have to have very high price points and buy rates, and you don't have to have expensive tickets in the actual arenas, because that's a very big market that you can appeal to.
Yeah. So, do you think that Usyk is going to go with Zuffa or IVB, in your personal opinion?
He might end up just doing a one fight with each.
Yeah.
I don't see him doing any long term commitment, saying, "Oh, I'll go with Zuffa for my next 4 fights and then I'm out of the game." He'll probably, if they've got a fight for him, he'll sign over there for that one fight, and then if IVB got one, he'll sign over there. Matchroom happen to have a fight for him that makes a lot of money, he'll sign there. Queensbury, that's what he does, and that's he's kind of in that Canelo arc at the moment where he can go anywhere and command money. Maybe not crazy, insane money, but he's a draw, uh, and he's the guy with all of the belts. So you have to go see him, and if you got to go see him on his terms, that's what you got to do.
Yeah. And talking about Usyk, we've news has come out that Derek Chisora is finalising his deal with Deontay Wilder, and he's being billed as a tune-up fight, even though I didn't think Derek was anybody's tune-up. Um, and not sure where that's going to be placed, but the hopes is that Deontay Wilder gets through Derek Chisora and then fights Alexander Usyk later in the year. He's looking to fight Derek Chisora in April in London. I heard news that there's meant to be a press conference being scheduled for next week, so we'll see how that goes. But I did see Derek nodding, because he couldn't say it verbally, nodding that the deal is more or less done. I saw a video of him yesterday on Ring Magazine's Instagram page of him signing the contract. I haven't seen a video of Wilder, but I imagine that is going to be imminent, or he might
Well,
have already.
let's not forget he signed the contract for Wilder back in, what was it, 2017, and
Yes,
didn't get a fight. So no, was it 20? No, I think it might have been 20. Might have been 2015 actually. Yeah,
but
it
it's a
was
different
before
day.
Wilder
It's a
got a
different
belt.
day now. It's a different that time now. Wilder's not. He can't be. He can't move so stush now.
Well, apparently that's going to end up on Sky Pay Per View as part of a Salem Promotions card.
Oh,
Don't know how that will necessarily run, and it's funny because Deontay Wilder having anyone as a quote unquote tune up fight makes no sense. And if you're gonna have, I mean, look, I know that he's kind of had a lot of he's had a lot of those wars at the moment, but there, if you was gonna have a fight that you needed to be a quote unquote tune up fight for, like Alexander Usyk, the first person you need to go to realistically is Kevin Lorena, because yes, he's not as quick as Usyk, but he's southpaw, a smaller heavyweight, like similar-ish dimensions in terms of like height and stuff. So
no,
if
he's a
you
bit
want to
shorter than
practice,
Usyk.
he's short. He's six. He's about 6'1".
Yeah,
Six and a bit 6'1". Usyk's obviously 6'3". But again, you need to practice. Hitting that shorter target. You need to practice with a southpaw. Derek Chisora does nothing for you in preparation for a Usyk fight. To be honest, there's not many people that do, but you at least got to try and work on the things you're gonna have to work on there. Um, I've said, look, I said years ago, and I was mocked for it, that Chisora beats Wilder. I said that he would have beat him way back in the day. And I said, even when people was talking, oh no, you trying to get what? You trying to get Chisora killed? You look at all the losses on the record. I goes, I believe that he will beat Wilder. And people told me that I was crazy and I was a hater and blah blah blah. And then I think 2 years after I said it, all of a sudden and I said, no, I want to see that fight. And people like, oh, no, you're trying to get him hurt. Then and then like a year and a bit, 2 years later, all of a sudden, everyone, oh, do you know it'd be a good fight? Chisora versus Wilder. I think Chisora could do it. Oh, is it? But when I was suggesting it, all of a sudden, I was, I just wanted to see the guy get hurt and all X Y Z. Or I didn't know boxing. All right, cool. Say
Yeah.
no.
For me, pre-Fury, I would have definitely picked Wilder to spark out Derek Chisora. But if you're talking about now, um, Wilder being 40, even though he doesn't look 40, and there's Derek Chisora being 42, but where is their styles? Wilder's style is not doesn't bode well for his age group. He relies on leaning back, jumping in and out, springing with his legs like a basketball player, and explosive 1-2s. The speed's obviously gone, the snap's gone for his punches, whereas Derek Chisora's punches are not designed to be fast. They're just fudding hooks and wailing away. He's got the durability. Yes, durability does tend to start fading when you get older, but he's still tough enough. The leather's still tough on him, I believe. And I think now I don't think this is a smart tune-up fight, because this can end up with Wilder getting his clock cleaned rather than tuning the clock. Um, I don't know if he's even going to make it to Usyk, let alone talking about having him as a down later on in the year. And as we know, all the time. So if Usyk's scheduled to fight Ruiz next, and Wilder for Derek Chisora, and then they're meant to, come together at the end of the year. As we know, all these pre-planned moves always end in tears and don't go the way that is supposed to go. Someone doesn't make it through, and the smart money is probably on Wilder not making it through now, because going by the public's early opinion, it seems Derek Chisora is actually the favorite going into this fight. People are saying that Wilder now might be better now because he's had some surgery which has helped him out. Plus, he's got rid of his ex who was fleecing him for money, and he was in emotional despair and stuff like that. So he was down in the dumps. So he's coming back with that bronze bomber vigor. So we will see. But early predictions, I would go with Del Boy to get that win for his 50th fight and bow out.
Fair enough. Um, I mean, I don't know. It's probably a better fight for him in the sense that it's is his age mate, one of the guys from his era, probably the only guy he hasn't fought from there. But then you look at obviously the Wardley thing. Did he, if he lay okay, well that's a greenhorn. That's obviously an opportunity for a world title. Is that not still something that he would have wanted to go? Does the Wilder fight pay more than the Wardley fight might have? Because obviously he was alluding to Frank Warren not loosening up the purse strings, which he does all the time, but you never know when he's actually telling the truth, when he's being honest. But maybe Frank isn't prepared to pay him what he's probably worth or what he believes he's worth for that fight. Because Frank got all these heavyweights, has got to try and find budgets for all of them. It's a bit of a techie situation, so you never know.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Both of them do have quite a few common opponents. They have Robert Helenius, where Derek Chisora got robbed on points for the European title. I remember that. And Wilder sparked him out in one. They had Artur Spilka, who Derek Chisora actually sparked in one. And Wilder sparked in about the eighth or ninth, but was having a stake out of him, was getting outboxed for quite a bit. Derek Chisora went points against Gerald Washington, whereas Wilder took him out in 2 rounds. And I think, is there any other ones? Obviously, well, when you're talking about Fury, Fury is 5-0-1 against both of them, with 4 inside the distance. So, but Fury seems to believe that Derek Chisora is going to knock out Wilder, and I think his opinion is probably more valid than most people because he's shared the ring with him 6 times.
Yeah, but Fury very rarely gets his predictions right. So, he's a bit like David Hay in that sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we'll see, but it's going to be interesting. Um, and then also, what I want to talk about is briefly is Ben Shalom. Have you heard any news about this pay-per-view platform that he's looking to launch pad on? I know
No,
when you.
hasn't. Nothing's come in this direction. When I did ask him about it, he told me about the dates he's got for the BBC. So, yeah,
Which
I don't know.
I've seen people using those dates material from your interview in some of their postings and stuff like that now, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
really?
yeah,
Although to be fair, I did see another interview. It may have been on. It might have been Stomping Ground. I know he did mention in another one where he had some other dates. It may not have been mine, but
okay,
it
okay.
could have. It very well could have been. You know that they love to take from the original.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But as you know, imitation is the biggest form of flattery. So you know, but yeah, yeah, I haven't heard anything. It'd be interesting. I don't know. Is he going to go down the YouTube pay per view? As you said, this I didn't even realize that it'd been out so long before. But he's got. What do you think is going to happen then with the BBC? Do you think they're just going to think, we're not really feeling it, or do you think he's going to keeps his normal fighters on the BBC and then try to just launch, I don't know, Chris Eubank Jr. as the pay per view guy? Because that's the only person I can think of people are going to pay for.
Yeah, any fights that he's currently got, the rosters he's currently got, are all gonna be. They're all, I would assume, under the budget that the BBC give. Like with possibly, actually no, because he lost Fraser Clark. I guess he can't really command higher than that at present. I think they're all probably sub the supposed 500,000 budget that they have for each event. And as I don't think you're allowed to spend the maximum at each event anywhere. I think that's just the maximum you can go up to. Um, he hasn't got very many fighters that are going to require that. So I reckon, yeah, the majority of the roster at present that are still there will remain on the BBC. And then if he has any pay per view style fights that he wants to put on, um, I wouldn't be surprised if this actually through pay-per-view.com rather than an actual like another platform. It might just be through there because that's where you can buy a lot of the zone pay-per-views through there or the ring pay-per-views or the PBC pay-per-views. You don't have to do it through Prime and you don't have to do it through the zone. So it could be that could be the or you could create maybe like one of those you might create a channel on one of the others. Maybe the pay-per-view app thing might be the what's it called? Is it still? It's not called Triller. I'm not
No,
talking
no,
about
no, no,
I'm
no.
not talking about the actual Triller thing, but there's the app that they use. I've got it on my phone. It's a part. Oh yeah, Triller TV, but it's a what was it? It's something else they used to be called, or there's another part of it that they have. Maybe they do that, and that's their pay per view, the part of their pay per view model. Um,
Hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm trying to. What was the other thing called on here? That's gonna annoy me. It was Triller. Fight. Was it? Might have been Fight something. Oh yeah, Fight
Fight
TV.
Zone. Oh, Fight TV.
Fight
Oh, yeah, yeah,
FITE. Yeah,
yeah. FITE. Yes, I've got that on my phone somewhere.
yeah, but they merged and they become Triller TV now. So, like that could be possibly what they look at.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So, have you anything else that you wanted to sort of speak about?
No, not me. I know that you put on the note something about Zerdo. I don't know if you was referring to the was that to mix into the upper tire somethings or was there something
Yeah,
else?
yeah, that was just mixed into the upper tire thing with yeah, because the whole cruiserweight thing
Okay.
and that being announced. But
Well, no, just I guess maybe little possible like what you want to call it predictions for you got your little Zuffa card tomorrow. Callum Walsh and Pedro. Was it Pedro Ocampo? Um, and then you
Carlos Ocampo.
Carlos Ocampo. So yeah, Carlos Ocampo. Callum Walsh. You got that little card there at the Apex. You got Murataya against Cruz
Hmm.
on Saturday for the
Yeah.
IBF lightweight title. If you want to maybe give a little take on those fights or something, I was supposed to actually do my video today for that, but I'll do it first thing in the morning. Upload it tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna probably go through right now. So yeah, Andy Cruz versus Raymond Muratala, who's 23-0. Andy Cruz 6-0. I see a lot of a lot of his Fight Week talk is sort of taunting Keyshawn Davis about daddy and all that type of stuff. The Cubans love talking about daddy. They love them bars I'm clocking. But I'm predicting Andy Cruz to win on points. I'm actually with Khalil Coe and Jesse Hart. This is going to be a really good fight. I was thinking that I just have a sneaky feeling Jesse Hart's going to pull this off, and beat Khalil Coe because he's a really good fighter, and if he hasn't aged too much, he's never been stopped. And Khalil Coe does blow hot and cold, homeless. Um,
Yeah, but well, put it this way, you bear this in mind. He ain't fought in over a year and a half.
Yeah.
And he's like 36.
Yeah.
36, 37. So just keep that in mind as well. But he is much taller. I think he's got a longer reach as well, just about, because Khalil Cole's like, I think 5'11", 5'10", 5'11". Jesse Hart's like 6'3".
Yeah.
So
yeah, I have a sneaky. Do you know what? I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with, because this is what I always thought anyway. And from what I saw in the back and forth, it seemed like Khalil Cole was kind of stalling and didn't really. I don't know. Jesse Hart was calling him out that he was ducking the fight and scared that's why he pulled out initially. So I'm gonna go with Jesse Hart to win. I can't tell you points or KO, but I'm gonna go with Jesse Hart. Israel Madrimov. I'm picking him over Luis David Salazar. Amari Jones versus Jerome Baxter. I don't know Jerome Baxter, but he's 7-0, so that's a good step up fight. You're fighting an unbeaten guy. And then with Callum Walsh and Ocampo, I'm going with Callum Walsh to stop Ocampo between 5 and 7.
okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
sounds good. Well, we'll see.
Please make sure that you subscribe to Base the Kid at the Hardcore Casual so you can watch his predictions, because he's not going to give it to us here right now. That's not how he does it. So please be sure to watch Base's picks tomorrow, and find out his predictions as well.
And you know what we're going to try and do? I'm going to check for the show for next week, peeps. I'm going to see if, rather than us doing, the show through all of our respective platforms individually and just sort of, you seeing it on whichever one you look at, I'm going to see if we can, if I can get the collaboration thing set up so it collabs through all of our channels. So you only have to go wherever you go to, you're basically seeing it through all the channels at the same time. I'm going to see if we can do that and see if that changes anything. Maybe, hopefully, that might correct a couple of mistakes that have clearly happened tonight with my feed for whatever reason. But yeah, otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. If there's nothing else, Danny, feel free to do your sign outs, because I've got to go somewhere in a little bit, but yeah.
Well, no, thank you very much everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. And be sure to look out for any lives going on the weekend for the boxing. And until next time, it's Danny Glover, it's Base the Kid, it's Fight Talk Live. And remember, guys, persistence beats resistance. You know what it is.